Mia Goth, Oscar. That's it, that's the intro. No witty preface to the film. Give that woman a statue, Academy, before I come to your house and ram a pitchfork down your... Hello and welcome to the Martini Shot. My name is Brandon and today I am going to be reviewing the 2022 horror film Pearl. But before I do that, let's get us a tall glass of Southern comfort and murderous tendencies with a refreshingly boozy cocktail I've named Pearl's Lemonade. And if you're a fan of movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails, be sure to hit the like button to help support the channel. Who doesn't like a tall glass of lemonade in the summer? I know Pearl sure does. From this film to her murderous rampage in X, I have to imagine she's been doing nothing but perfecting that simple, sugary drink all those decades on that farm. While I'd be skeptical of drinking anything that woman handed to me, rest assured that the only crazy thing I'm putting in mine is a good amount of alcohol. Pearl's Lemonade contains down south ingredients like whiskey and a hint of orange, as well as some mint for some added crispness and some ginger beer for a bit of a bite. And then to bring home the fact that Pearl is a maniac, we're also going to be topping this off with a bit of blood. Rest assured, it's not farm animal blood, but a float of ruby red sloe gin to give this drink an additional botanical flavor. Let's get started. All right, this will be a shaken cocktail, so go ahead and get your shaker ready. We're gonna go ahead and start with our base liquor, and that is going to be our whiskey. Use whichever whiskey that you prefer, preferably one that's not a bank breaker. I am going with Redemption Rye, one of my favorite rye whiskeys at the moment, and we are going to do 2 ounces. Next, we're gonna add a bit more booze and a little bit of citrus thanks to some orange liqueur. We are going to do 3/4 ounce. Now for the body of the drink, we're gonna be doing lemonade. This is a home batch that I made myself. Don't have to do it, but like I always say, the homemade, freshest ingredients are definitely gonna give you the best quality drink. So that's what I'm going with here. Homemade lemonade's very simple to make, just with some cold water, some warm water, and a little bit of sugar and some lemon juice. And we're gonna do 3 ounces of the lemon juice. And next we're gonna throw about 4 to 5 mint leaves into here. You can either muddle them, or once you put the ice in and shake it, you can do that as well. Just make sure that you have a fine mesh strainer at hand, so you can go ahead and double strain just to make sure those little bits of torn up mint leaves don't get into the final product. All right, we can go ahead and throw some ice in the shaker and shake to chill. And now, like I said, we are going to be double straining this over a tall glass with some fresh ice. And now we are going to be topping it with our ginger beer. The amount you use will pretty much just kind of determine based on how much ice you use or how big your glass is, so your results may vary. And you don't want to fill it up all the way to the top because you do want to leave a little bit of room for that 1/2 ounce of sloe gin we're going to pour on top. But we can go ahead and give this a quick little stir to combine. All right, and now for our sloe gin, we are going to only be doing about 1/2 ounce. You can either pour this over the back of a spoon to kind of help with the layering process, or you can pour it directly in, completely up to you. All right, there you go. And now you have Pearl's Lemonade. All right, let's go ahead and give it a taste. This is a very bright cocktail, very fruit flavored. You do get a little bit of that botanical nature right at the front just from that sloe gin, but as you can probably see, it does kind of sink closer to the bottom. So as you finish it out, you'll probably get a little bit more than that, but some remnants still stay on those ice cubes floating at the top. But yeah, the mixture of the lemonade and a little bit of that kick with the ginger beer really makes this nice. And with that extra addition of the mint, it's almost kind of like a cross between like a Moscow Mule or like a Kentucky Mule, since it's whiskey, with a little bit of lemonade. So I think that's really good. The orange liqueur is kind of under the surface. It's not as apparent as some of the other flavors, but it is definitely there. Kind of brings in another level of like citrus to this drink. Depending on how you make your lemonade or which lemonade you use, it might be a tad sweet with kind of all these elements. It might be a tad sweet with all these extra elements, but at least with the measurements I've used, this is pretty balanced, pretty light, pretty refreshing. Yeah, I think this is perfect for living your life away on a decrepit farm with your comatose father and your militant German mother. Now that we have our drink, let's run straight into the review of Pearl. In what has to be the shortest turnaround for a sequel I've ever seen, Pearl serves as a prequel to a horror film that came out earlier this year called X. The Pearl we see there is an old, bitter woman with a malicious jealousy towards the young, sex-having adults that come to shoot a pornographic film on her farm. X is a pretty solid throwback to the grimy grindhouse days of slasher horror that you should definitely check out. I reviewed it earlier this year and made a pretty great drink called the Sex on the Farm you should definitely check out. Pearl takes place about 50 years before X, where we're introduced to a much younger, much more starry-eyed Pearl. She dreams of one day becoming a grand movie star, if she can ever leave her comatose father and her stone-hearted mother. But even all those years ago, Pearl has some dark tendencies. And if you thought she was ruthless in X, whew man, you ain't seen nothing yet. Pearl feels remarkably different from X in both its presentation and its approach to the horror this time around. While X's inspirations obviously come from the gritty slasher films of the 70s and 80s, most noticeably the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pearl's aesthetic is inspired heavily by the golden age of classic Hollywood. The colors are bright and saturated to mimic the Technicolor style popularized in the early 1900s, the music is produced by a fluttery orchestra, and of course, some good old-fashioned wipe cuts are back, baby. It feels so different from X in such a great way, allowing it to have its own identity while making this one of the most unique pairs of horror films to date. Now, I've got to talk about Mia Goth as Pearl because holy hell. I'm not exaggerating when I say that she gives not only one of the best horror performances since Toni Collette in Hereditary, she gives one of the best performances of the year, period. She did an impressive job playing not one, but two characters in X, but here she's really allowed to delve deeper into a broken character. She does a great job at selling that vintage film feel through both her dialogue and her appearance, as well as giving an increasingly unhinged performance as the film goes on. By the time we reach the climax, Goth is loud and aggressive, but she's also given enough time to deliver an actually touching monologue, giving insight into the character's awareness of the darkness inside her that she's unsure of how to fix. This is an impressive as hell performance that I know will get no award season attention because the Academy is too old and pussyfooted for horror movies. It's pretty apparent that the film is much more of a character study with some horror elements rather than a full-blown horror movie like X was. While this means less frequent and intense scares, it does deliver on some fairly disturbing imagery involving maggots, burning flesh, and dismembered limbs. It's certainly a deviation from the sex-crazed insanity of X, which some viewers may find disappointing. It does kind of feel like an appetizer for those who are hungry for bloody kills and gratuitous nudity, which X more than delivers on. Yet this film is certainly a testament to director Ty West's ability to craft a narrative that can show astute patience and attention to detail, not just the tried and true horror tropes. This is especially true considering the themes of loss of youth and the failure to achieve your dreams that failed to make a lasting impact in X are a lot heavier here. The film may go on for a bit longer than it needs to, and the story does sometimes feel like it could have used another draft, but Mia Goth's performance and Ty West's directing absolutely make this a one-of-a-kind horror film. And wouldn't you freaking know it, we're getting another film to complete this trilogy. West truly deserves an award for one of the fastest turnarounds on a film trilogy in history, as well as a much needed vacation. For my rating, I'm giving this film 3.5 scarecrows out of 5. Same rating I gave to X, but I like this one just a little bit more. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Martini Shot. If you saw Pearl, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And if you like what you saw here and would like to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me across all social media channels. Those links are down in the description below. And if you want to check out more movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails, be sure to check out my website, martinishot.blog. Until next time, thank you again for watching. I will see you in the next one. Live deliciously, but please remember to drink responsibly. Thank you.